got taller, man.
It's coming in one. I'm going center.
Flash off.
How's everybody? Hey,
Oh, yes, yes. Good
Please turn your phones off, please.
Everyone, before the press conference starts, please turn your phones. We want to thank members of the media who are here today. We have Sabrina and Tracy, who are the parents of Trayvon Martin. We have the family members of Rekia Boyd, her mother and father here, the wife of, raise your hand, the wife of Howard Morgan, who is here, the family of Stephon Watts is here, Jennifer Hudson's family members are here. We are also honored by the president of the mayor from Ecuador, who is here, and other members of our community here, Rev Jackson.
Our society has become much too violent, citizen on citizen. Black murder at an all-time high. We really should 7,000 blacks are murdered, 94% by another black person. According to a study by the Bureau of Justice Statistics, between 1976 and 2011, 279,000 black murder victims, which means 262,000 murdered by other blacks, 94%. 13% of the population, 50% of the homicides. The magnitude of this tragedy may be viewed in another light. According to the Tuskegee Institute study, between 1882 and 1968, 3,400 blacks were lynched at the hands of whites. Black fatalities during the Korean War, 3,075. Vietnam, 7,000. All wars since 1980, 8,000. A total of 18,000. The killing must stop. We are going to on Father's Day weekend, and several cities around the country began to march on gun shops. Where the guns are flowing and the killings are rising. While the stats point to a high number of blacks killing blacks because we are of the midst of this, we are first human beings. Secondly, we are citizens. And through the citizens must be protected under the law. We will not receive legal protection under the law. We see disparities in treatment and pursuit of crime. Having the case of Rekia Boyd shot by a policeman who still walks free. And the case of Stephon Watts shot in his home. Autistic kid, 15 years old, shot, killed. Police still walking free. And the case of Darren Hanna in North Chicago, shot, tasered 7 times, handcuffed, and died. Only 1 police, 7 have been relieved of duty. We were able to get the Department of Justice to agree to intervene, and the Attorney General of Illinois, Lisa Matthews. The Hudson Family is doing a tremendous ordeal to get 1 killer convicted. The case of the Trayvon Martin and the Martin family. The killer still walks free. On an argument, he had the right to do it under some law. In the same state, the woman, victim of domestic violence, stopped an approach, shot in the ceiling of her house. Didn't shoot, pursue her. She's facing 20 years in jail. This unequal justice must stop. Just as the Emmett Till case, all of its ugliness allowed us to illuminate the darkness of lynching and change our disposition toward concession to lynching and oppression. The Trayvon Martin case is that source of light in this season of our struggle. Expose injustice, inequality, and lack of equal protection under the law. Here was a case where a young man going home to be with his father was profiled and pursued against orders of the law and killed. Didn't even put duct tape around the crime scene. Killer walked free. And after global protest, is not free on a light bond. So I want to thank the mother and father of Trayvon for giving us the platform to protest the injustice of killing and crime. We intend in the Rainbow on Father's Day weekend around the nation, our least cities will be marching on guns to expose the barbarity of violence and the high murder rate. I want to thank Attorney Benjamin Crump, who has been a very able lawyer for the family in this case. Who has made a compelling case for lawyers of color, and for this family. Thank you, Benjamin Crump. And thank you, Sabrina, and thank you, Tracy. And I wish that you would give, since there's so much press interest, an update on where we are now in the Trayvon Martin judicial process. Sister Sabrina, step up. And Tracy.
First, I'd like to say thank you to Rev Jackson for having us here to talk with so many other families who share similar fates that Tracy and Sabrina have had to go through, and that between their having the opportunity to dialogue with one another, they can help each other stand up a little more stronger when the cameras and the public are not present. They can stand and know that there are people in Chicago who have helped them, and simply they help those families in Chicago who have suffered senseless crimes. Senseless. It just should never be. And as Rev Jackson said, it's happening at an alarming rate. We stand here now before you. We have the evidence being released, and the family is thankful for that, because they do want it to be transparent. They want a fair trial. That's all they've ever asked for from the beginning, since their unarmed teenage son was shot and killed by Joy Zimmerman. They've only asked for a fair and impartial trial. And you know, the dignity at which they stand here they're only asking for justice. They want George Zimmerman to have a fair trial too. In America, we feel everybody should have their day in court. And so all they ask is that we all stay vigilant and we continue to watch, to blog, to continue to communicate on social media, continue to come to rallies, continue to dialogue, because we don't want Trayvon Martin's death swept under the rug. We don't want any of these people up here death swept under the rug. And it's important that you understand that they told Tracy Martin that they weren't going to arrest the killer of his son. They weren't going to hold him accountable. And it was not until he and Sabrina refused to remain quiet. They made noise, they begged, they screamed, they interviewed, they continued to just relive the horror over and over again just to make sure that they could get justice for their son and it wouldn't be swept under the rug. So it's no coincidence that we're at this point now where the killer of their son has been arrested and charged with murder. It's because they have held the facts up to the world and say we cannot let this person not even be arrested and charged so we can get it to court and have all the evidence come out before a jury. That's all they ever wanted. And they're very concerned about the laws of stand your ground, because as Sabrina and Tracy both have been vocal that everybody has a right to bear arms. They don't go against that fundamental constitutional right in America. But when you look at the situation of this stand your ground law where somebody can be the aggressor, can go start the fight, and then claim stand your ground, that just doesn't make sense to anybody, and especially to them as they continue to think about why their son Trayvon Martin is dead. I will say this in closing, Reverend Jackson. Just think, if you would, just for a second, we've been talking about senseless gun violence all morning with all these families in the Chicago community. Just think for a second. Ponder just for a second, if you would. That night of February 26th, if George Zimmerman didn't have a gun. The evidence is out now. We know the police got there very shortly after, a matter of minutes after the gunshot. If there was not a gun there, whether it was an altercation or not, that police would have came, pulled them off of one another. George Zimmerman wouldn't be charged with murder, and more importantly, Trayvon Martin would be living today. He would have got to go to his high school prom. He would be getting ready for summer vacation. He would be getting ready to live the rest of his life and pursue his dreams. But because that gun was involved, that changed the whole equation, the whole dynamic. And so we have to do something to stop this senseless gun violence.
Before we open up to the press, I want to just briefly, before I ask